Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Far From Perfect. I am chatting with my good friend, and I know I always say that, but I have a lot of good friends. I have a lot of great, amazing friends, and today is no different. It's my friend Katharine Sawyer. She is a business and mindset coach, and I cannot wait to dive into today's topic. Katharine, thank you so much for being here today.
Gosh, I'm so thrilled. I'm excited for this conversation and likewise, dear friend, and love all that you're doing and love watching your success and all your growth, and so happy we've connected.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. I was like, I just want to be around the girls, the women, whatever, however you want to consider yourself, who are interested in growing, are having these deeper conversations, making changes, making moves, not necessarily girl bosses. Like, if that's what you want to do, awesome, but connecting with like-minded individuals, because that's all I have time for.
Yeah. And I was literally just on a training before this of we need connection. We need more
Yes.
connection, and to have success in whatever area of life it is, it starts with that. It starts with connecting with people. And we got so away from that during the pandemic and stuff. And it's like, we're just using, social media and Zooms and all the things to feel like we're connecting, but like, it's who's in your circle. Are they people who keep you where you're at and stuck where you're at, or is it people that push you to, explore your next things and your dreams and outside your comfort zone? Just, it's amazing what connection can do. And like, I've learned the power of getting into rooms, having conversations,
Mhm.
meeting people, and it's super impactful and super important for us.
I agree. And you and I both use social media as a tool to attract clients, retain clients, and brand ourselves. But social media is a fake connection. And I, you and I could have a conversation in our DMs all day long and all of this stuff, and it's kind of the same, but it's still not totally the same. And I know people are connecting with other people online. You're like, no, I'm connected, but not really. You got to find that real, genuine, authentic.
Agree. Agree.
Well, today
100%.
we're talking about rising to our deepest desires. And I love the topic of desire. It is something that I've actually been focused on this
Good.
year. It's very layered for me, I'm sure for everyone. But before we dive into our topic, Katharine, can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself, where you came from, and how you got to this point today?
Yeah, awesome. So I'm from Louisville, Kentucky originally, and I live in Texas now, but my first career of 10 years was in college football. So it moved me around. I worked for some pretty big schools, in recruiting and events, and then also as like an executive assistant. And at the age of 30, I had enough. I basically was burnt out. I was guarding a desk. I was making breakfast. I was literally sitting there all hours of every single day while, the football team is doing all their things. And I wasn't fulfilling. I didn't feel fulfilled. And I was like, I can do more. Like, I have more to offer this world, but also like my lifestyle. Like, I missed out on all my friends' weddings. Like, you couldn't take vacations. Like, it was all this stuff that for 10 years, I just was like, what am I doing? And it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. Met a lot of people that are still super good friends and all of that. But I was just like, I don't want this forever. And so literally on a whim, quit with no backup plan, no plan B, no business plan. I just knew I wanted more. And I knew what I loved, like what passions I had. And one of those was health and fitness. So I became certified in nutrition, and as a personal trainer, I began training people online. And then I became an online health coach, did that. And then I worked for a health and fitness company, a startup health and fitness company, and moved again. So at that point, I had moved like 3 or 4 states in like, I think 8 years or so, and moved there, worked there, and then it just became an environment that didn't serve me. And again, I got back to that where I was, working insane hours. I was stressed. My hormones were crashed. My health wasn't good. Working for a health and fitness company. And I realized that I was doing all of this to build someone else's dream. And I was like, I see the potential. I know I have it in me. And I also want to help other women see that. And at the time I was obviously working in health and fitness. So when I left that during COVID, I basically was like, I just want to help these other women see that they can build a successful health and fitness company. I know what it takes. I did all the things that help those people grow. I was in the weeds of everything. And so began to build this business based around helping other health and fitness coaches build successful online businesses. And that's where it's got me where I am today. And now I have work to develop professionally and personally in a way to now serve people in both the business and the mindset world. But now my passion is to really serve not just people in the health and wellness space, but really anybody who was me, was stuck, wanted more, had a deeper desire, right? They knew that they were meant for something more. And I think it's important to say that because I think a lot of people just, they feel bad about saying they want more, that they have a desire for more, that they should be grateful for the opportunity that they have or whatever. And I was like, this is my life. We only have one life to live, right? And time goes fast. And so, being willing to get uncomfortable and do that scary thing. And I did something, wouldn't recommend to everybody, but, and I'm single and stuff, so I didn't have another income. It was literally, but that also pushed me. It's why I think I got out of it, because I didn't have a backup. I didn't have someone else to pay the rent or to feed me. So it was like, figure it out or go apply to, somewhere else. And so, so I want to help people and help women specifically see that desire, acknowledge it, find that superpower that they have, that thing that they are really good at, and they can impact the world with, step into their purpose and really build that business and life of their dreams.
It's so funny. Our backgrounds are very, very similar because I also had that driving desire when I was in my first job. I just knew that this could not possibly be. This could not possibly be the rest of my life. And I felt that desire for more. And even when I started doing something else that was more in alignment with who I was, I knew I was meant to be more than, not that there's anything wrong with being a yoga teacher, but I was like, I knew I'm more than a yoga teacher.
Right.
But then also, what you were talking about, building someone else's dream. And this has become abundantly clear to me. Not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. It's like,
100%.
what are you willing to put up with?
100%.
You put up with having to be somewhere every day to have that steady salary, because that is very nice. I'm sure there are days you and I wish we knew we were going to get paid on Friday.
Right.
A certain amount.
100%.
But for those who, like, if you're willing to put yourself out there and you will show up on social and you will take the risks, there's something else available. And there's room for, the world needs all of us.
100%.
It's just interesting. Like, you and I, doesn't sound like we are very employable at this point. So we have to put up with the other part of it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I would pass an interview at this point in my life.
Oh, I interview very well. I know exactly what to say. I make a great first impression, but once I get in there, I'm like, oh, whoops. I just wanted to be picked.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to tell me that you liked me.
Yes, exactly. But now I have to do this. Wait, what did I commit to? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But let's get into that. Rising to your deepest desire. So tell me more about this.
Yeah, so Rise is a 4-step framework that I created. And I did this honestly for my business clients, that it was meant to really audit their business because I was doing more operational side of things. So I created this framework, and now I have made it to where it is applicable to anyone in their life, wherever they're at. And so we're going to talk about this in a way of finding your deepest desires and rising to that potential that you want. And so I created this in a way that it really is meant to walk through those steps in order to know what are those deepest desires? What is that superpower? How can I fulfill that purpose and build that business and life of my dreams? And so it stands for, the R is reflection, the I is identify, the S is strategize, and the E is execute. And so these steps, again, are meant to walk you through. We can't strategize and take action if we don't know the root cause. And I know in the health world, we all know what that means. We got to get to the root cause of, why are we feeling this way? Why do I not feel fulfilled in this job at one point, I was? Or why am I dreading going to work on Monday? All of these things, getting down to that. What do we want? What do we want our life to look like? What is that 10-year goal? And really embodying that and envisioning this. So the reflection piece is super, super important to start with, because without that, we can't go and strategize and figure out what that next step is, what that move is we make, what that business is we start, right? So I kind of want to talk through today a little bit in depth of what Rise is and why it's important so that you can go walk away today after listening to this with actionable steps to go, reflect on these things and see how this can apply to your life. Again, it was built originally, the framework was built originally to help people kind of audit their business and see where shifts need to be made business-wise. But it can be applicable to anyone if you don't have a business, or if your goal isn't to have a business and it's just to make changes in your life as personally, or relationships, or, whatever that might be. And so I just kind of want to walk through and help your audience understand what these steps mean and how they can impact their life.
I'd love that. Are we going to talk more about reflection?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I have questions, but I want to let you do your thing before I dive in.
Yeah. So reflection in the original form of review, I have kind of two ways people work with me. And in the more business side of things, we call it review instead of reflection, but we're going to talk about reflection here. What this is when you're looking at your life, okay? You're looking at your current life, your current situation, and you're asking yourself these hard questions, okay? Of, what do you love about your life? What things do you really love? What about your job, your career? Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you are a CEO or an exec at a company. Maybe maybe you work remote, whatever it is. What do you love about your job? But then also, what do you not like? Right? And I think
Probably
it's important.
easier for people to answer.
Yes, probably. So what do you not like? What literally, that feeling, that ick feeling, what gives you the ick feeling in your life when you have to do these things, right? And be honest, when I'm telling people, whenever, especially when it comes to the review stage or reflection, I always say, you've got to be honest. Because especially when it comes to business, but also this is in life, we'll say, oh, I show up, like I work every single day. I work really hard. Maybe you're working in the gym. Like I lift weights, but like, why am I not getting to where I want to be? Are you lifting like really heavy weights, or are you like lifting the 10 pounds? Are you working on your business for 30 minutes? Or are you working on it for 2 hours? Like being honest. And when you're working on it, when it comes to are you scrolling Instagram? Because that's not working. Or when you're when you're working on your health, like, what is, like, be honest. Is it work? Like you're only helping yourself, or you're only not helping yourself when you're not being honest. Right. So thinking of those things, looking at joy and happiness. What brings you joy? What warms your heart? What gives you that like warm, fuzzy feeling, right? And like the things that bring you joy, like what makes you smile, okay? What makes you happy? Your passions, what are you passionate about? What are your values? What are your beliefs? Those types of things. What truly like lights you up? Okay, those types of stuff. Strengths and weaknesses. What are you good at? What are you bad at? Right? It's okay to know these things, because a lot of us, we end up in situations that we aren't happy because we're doing things that we're terrible at. And we might not be rising to our potential because we're so focused on these things that aren't in our zone of genius. And it's okay. I hire people to do things that aren't my zone of genius because that doesn't serve me. And it's not going to get me to my highest potential. So knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at is important in moving on in whatever area of life you're trying to work on, right? Again, likes and dislikes, all the things. What do you like to eat? What do you not like to eat? What kind of workouts do you like to do? What kind of workouts do you not like to do, right? I think you would, we might say that, strength training is key and is important. At the end of the day, I think every health coach or every person can say, like, just move your body. I would rather you move your body than not do anything because you don't like this one thing. If going to Zumba is your thing, go to Zumba, please, right? And I think social media world make like do this or don't do anything, or else you're nobody to me, right? And we can still preach and coach our things and our beliefs, but again, at the end of the day, like do what makes you happy. And so what do you like? What do you not like? What does your ideal day look like? If you're unhappy in your life, like what do you want your ideal day to look like? What is it? What time are you waking up? What does it mean? Like for me, like that was important. When I'm talking to people about building a business, I want them to know that even though that's not going to look like this right away, and we're going to have to hustle, and we're going to have to probably do some things that isn't our ideal day, but we don't want to build a business that supports the ideal day you don't like. We want to build a business that will get you to that ideal day, right? Or again, whatever area of life you're trying to work on, what does your ideal day look like? What does your life look like? What are you doing? What are you not doing? And then your goals, like what goals do you have? What is that immediate goal? Maybe it's 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out. Maybe it's by the end of the year. Maybe it's, and then your 3-year goal, your 5-year goal. What is your vision down the road? Knowing those things is super important, and really reflecting on all this. And at the end, I'll share a resource. I have a journal prompts to help work through the reflection piece for everybody. So that would help. And it literally asks the specific questions. So that's reflection.
Do you find that women have a hard time knowing what they like, what they want?
I do. I think it's something, again, it's sad that we're not honest with ourselves on a lot of things, but we're so, society takes over, and we feel like we have to like something, or we have to not like something, or in order to be cool, or in order to fit into this group, so we're so, I can't even think of the word right now, consumed by what society wants us to do, that we're afraid to, like, you don't like that, you don't like it, like say it. Like we don't want to speak up, right? Like why do we feel like we have to like, be shy about it, or like feel bad about it?
Yeah.
Like to make money, tell the people you like to make money. We were just having this conversation before this. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Or if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, totally fine. We're not telling everyone they need to be, so, but it is hard. It's, I don't know why, but
Yeah, because like to your point, I feel like we were just put on a track.
yeah.
This is what you do, and then you do this, and then you do that. Like when I graduated high school or college, of course, like Enterprise Rent-A-Car, they had a thing. They were like at every career fair, and if you got a job at Enterprise, you knew exactly what your next 10 years were going to look like.
100%.
And so it didn't give you any opportunity for creativity. Like I never dreamt, Katharine. I did not even know what I do now was possible.
Same.
So how could I know what I like if I just was supposed to go get a job, work for the rest of my life? Like if that's the track that I'm on. So I just wanted to ask that, because I was like, am I the only one who didn't know what she liked?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting.
And it's funny you say that, because I literally was listening to a podcast the other day, and I can't remember who it was. And they were talking about sometimes like pay attention to like, and I don't want this to come across in a way of like, you need to like, you just look up to them, you just want to be that person. But like, if there's people on social media that you follow and you're like, oh my gosh, like that would sound so much fun. Like the stuff that you're constantly seeing and liking, and it's speaking to you, like that's maybe a sign, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, even just like pay attention to those things, because like, that's how we all learn what's possible and what's there. I never knew what business coaching was, probably even when I quit my job. I mean, I didn't know to ask somebody for help. And so, but you learn, and we all pivot in business, and we all pivot in all areas of life based on, sometimes we don't know we like or dislike something until we try it.
Yes.
And so we have to try you have to be willing to try it. Give it a try. If it doesn't work out and it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I'm making a pivot in my life and my business right now.
Right.
But I'm grateful. I've had to take these steps, because it's gotten me where I have. It's got me to meet and connect. It has built my business. It's why I'm here. And we evolve and we grow, and it's okay.
That is something that I have been thinking about a lot this year, is if having a business has taught me anything, it's just you are constantly redirecting. You are constantly pivoting. And if you are not down for that, then this is not the path for you. Because we got to be on our toes. We have to be nimble, and you're going to learn some things. There's a lot, there's so much to starting to understand what we like. And sometimes we don't know what we like if we don't know what we don't like. But you
Yep,
can't just always get the same thing. You can't just always get vanilla ice cream and never try the chocolate. What if chocolate's your favorite flavor and you never even knew it?
exactly,
And that
exactly.
applies to so many areas of our lives, but
Oh,
I'm sure we need to get on
funny.
to
Yeah.
the next
So
one.
so that's reflection. So then from there, and again, this is meant to walk you through each step. It's not, you got to do one before you do the next. Identify. So then what we're doing is we're taking what we reflected on and we're identifying what are the gaps in my life? Where, like, what am I doing is my day to day, all the things that doesn't bring me joy? Am I doing things that bring me happy regularly, or that make me happy regularly? What are your fears? What's holding you back? What are the blockers? you know, getting, identifying these things, acknowledging them, that's a key piece to it too. Acknowledging that it's a thing and that it is the reason we're there. And acknowledging that like you want to make a change, identifying what those things are so that you can commit to making a change, right? So it's, what are you saying? It's the things, the thoughts. What are those thoughts that are repeating in your mind? What are those things you're constantly thinking about? That might be the idea of the business idea, the passion that you might not realize you have. What's constantly on your mind? What do you say? How are you speaking to yourself? Is it negatively? Is it positively? What is that root cause? That's what we're trying to do. Identifying those root causes of why we're at in the situation that we're in that we don't want to be, right? Or that we might want change in. And then the 2.0 you, we talk a lot in mindset coaching about embodying your 2.0 self. And what that means is really looking at, okay, thinking down the road, that vision I have, that goal I have. So say at the end of 2024, I want this, whether it's in whatever goals you're working on. And you say, okay, then when with someone who has that already, and it's okay to know, it's call that a person you already know, right? If they already have that, what are they doing daily? How do they show up?
Yep.
How do they dress? What does their day look like? What do they eat for breakfast? What kind of workouts are they doing? How do they treat themselves? How do they treat others? What are their hobbies? And you start being her.
Yeah.
Even as you're right where you're at, you're not to that goal yet, but you start showing up as her, as 2.0 you now. And I'm telling you, and I tell people, I don't really know the words to say, but it works.
It works.
It works. Like I can't really explain it. And it's literally, and I say that every time I'm like talking about it, I get stumped of like, I don't know how to explain it to you over Zoom or over, over this podcast or whenever I'm leading trainings on this, but I'm just telling you, if you give it a try, it freaking works.
Yeah. It's like you bring the future to the present moment
Yeah.
when you do that.
Mhm.
And that's what quantum leaping is, right?
100%, 100%. And you don't have to do it all. You don't have to be that person fully, but just pick little things. Like I'm telling you, I remember when I first started working with my coach on this stuff, it was, I was waking up 30 minutes earlier than I was already waking up. I made my bed. It's little stuff. I actually got ready. I actually like put on makeup or,
Yeah.
put on real clothes and didn't work in my pajamas or,
Yep.
I went on a walk. It was little stuff that you just forget, but that these people, because they're successful, they have what you want. That's their life. They do it without thinking. And you start showing up in that way. It's who are they friends with? Where do they go out to eat? Who's in their circle? What events do they go to? How do they, that stuff? Maybe they go to a higher end yoga studio or something like that, or they go to yoga versus just being at home, start embodying that person, doing what she does, and change will happen in your life and whatever area you're working on. So that's the identified stage. So next is strategize. So, in business world, we all know what strategy is, but this can apply in life too. It's how can we get you out of where you are, right? And where you want to be. We plan, we create, we design, we create that path. It's important to know that if you have a destination, you want to be somewhere, right? If you have a destination in your GPS, you can't get there unless you plug that, that destination, right? Like, for instance, like you live in Colorado. If I just said I wanted to go see Kylie and I just put in Colorado, I'm not going to find Kylie.
Yeah.
But if I know her address, exact address, the longitude, latitude, whatever, I'm going to get there. Right. And there's different paths I can take. I can take the tollway to get there quicker, or I can take the mountain scenic route to get there slower. Right. So there's different paths. wrecks happen, traffic happens, road closures happen, like that. But like, we have to still have a strategy. We still have a destination, and we're going to figure out how to get there. And it's important because a lot of people, when they're not getting there, they think they need to change the destination. And we don't need to change the destination. We need to change how we're getting there. We might need to change the tactics. We don't, right? We don't need to change the strategy. We still need to be in our car. We still need to be driving north, and we still, you know, whatever. But we might pivot on a path, or we might, you know, make a stop to eat, you know, whatever. It's like, we just have to be willing to do that. But you're creating this path to get you where you want. Okay. And that's that strategy piece. What are those things that we have to do to get there? What changes do we need to make based on reflection and identify? Because everyone's going to be different.
Yeah.
Your path isn't going to be the same as my path. Same as the person listening to this, right? If whatever goal they're going after, it's going to be different. Your life situation's different. You might have, you have kids. I don't have kids, right? It's all going to be different. So that is what Strategize is.
I imagine when things get challenging, it's really important to remember that destination.
Oh,
like
sure.
when it's not working, when the money's not coming in, when the weight is not being lost, when life feels like you constantly are running into traffic jam after flat tire, like you have to really remember, where am I going? Why am I doing this?
And why? The why. That's where the why comes into piece. Whatever you're doing in life, like, you've got to remember like what your why. And whenever I tell people like to work on their why, I'm always like, it's not the why. Cause a lot of people are just like, oh, like why? Cause like, I want to be fit. You're like, why? Like, you like ask yourself why 10 times. Like, we want like it to be a long list, right? To get to like, what is that root cause? It's to be you know, to be able to run around with my grandkids, you know, or whatever. It's like that stuff, the stuff that like gives you chills when you get there. Like, that's when you know you have your why, right?
Yes.
You know, we all like, why? I'm going to be successful. Like, that's not a why. And so remembering that, and that's why we want to get to that destination. That's why we put it in our GPS, right? It's why we're going there. So that is strategize. And then the last piece is execute. And I always tell my clients who will hear me, I'm a broken record. I say taking action all the time. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest piece missing for a lot of people is we do all these things and we think we consume a lot. We consume social media, we consume a training we get on, or, you know, a coach that's telling us stuff, but we never contribute.
Yeah.
It's the contribution part, the action, the execution that gets you where you want to be. Okay. So we can put the thing in the GPS and we can hit start, but like, we don't put the pedal or the foot to the gas pedal, we won't get there. Right. And so it's taking action, getting uncomfortable, doing the things, following the plan that you put into place. But again, being willing to pivot. But the key is it's the consistency. It's the choices you make when you're embodying yourself. You remember that of when my alarm every day, when it goes off at 5:30 a.m., I always train myself to ask myself, if I hit snooze, that's what 1.0 Katharine does, but 2.0 Katharine gets up, right? So which one are you choosing today? So when you have that choice, if I'm going to eat that Oreo or I'm going to eat that strawberry, what's 2.0 me doing, right? If being healthy is my goal, right? And so it's remembering, it's the choices you make. It's creating that reality. Realities don't just happen and become true. Manifestation is a thing in a way, but it's not, manifestation isn't just saying it's gonna, like, if it's just speaking it.
Manifestation requires action.
Embodiment is a manifestation. We are manifesting it happening because we're doing it. We're taking the action. We're not just saying like, Lord, make me successful. And I'm not going to wake up tomorrow successful, right?
Yeah, like affirmations alone are not going to get you there. You gotta back that shit up. Otherwise, the universe doesn't believe you.
Right.
You have to prove to the universe that
you prove to the universe you're taking action, and and then the universe starts to reward you because you're doing that, right? And so the execution piece it's so important. And I think it's the piece that a lot of people miss, because again, we're so like, oh, like, you know, they don't even do all these hard, like, you have to do the hard, and it's usually the hard work, but it's the choices you're making every day. Every day you have a choice. Everything you're doing, you have a choice. Yeah. And it's remembering, like, is this getting me closer to that destination, or is it getting me further away?
Yeah.
Or is it keeping me right where I'm at, right? So taking the action, listening to those things, doing the work, showing up, whether you have to put it on your calendar, whatever it means. Everyone has different ways they need to, you know, have that accountability. That's why having a coach of some sort, if you're on your health and wellness journey, having a coach to hold you accountable and to tell you what those actions are. If you're in business, if you're in life, like a life coach, you know, whatever it is, having someone to help you with that strategy and that plan and that execution, because we all can get lazy. We can all, you know, especially like in the business world, for me, it's easy to say like, I mean, I could literally sit here and do nothing today because no one would know. They don't know that I have these goals or that like I put a deadline on myself, you know, they don't know that. And so
Yeah.
it's easy to not do it because no one has eyeballs on me. I don't have a boss.
Yeah.
But, and it's amazing because when we do all the things. Think of yourself like in your job, like you work until the end of the day if you have a deadline to make because like it's your job.
Mhm.
If you're in business, you don't.
Mhm.
But it's like, but if that's your goal, then do it. Like do it as if your boss is watching you or your coach, you know, show up at the gym as if Kylie is in person with you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, that action piece, it's not just taking action, it's taking aligned action and the
Mhm.
right action, smart action.
I
And
agree.
that's where that strategy comes in.
Well, and I think people sometimes they get down on themselves, like, I should be able to do this on my own. I'm like, why do you think that? There's
Yeah,
nothing easy about any of these things. You don't have to know how to do it. That is why coaching is so powerful. And when you're looking at coaching, God, why does it cost so much? Because it will literally change your life. Like, we
literally.
cannot put a price on life-changing experiences. And you don't need to know how. Like, you are, that's what I always tell people, you're an expert at whatever it is that you do. Katharine
Yep.
is an expert in this, in coaching you through your
Right.
business, in evolving to your 2.0 self. You are going to save so much time, heartache, and money eventually signing up with Katharine or signing up with a health coach than you would if you just like willy-nilly tried it on your own. It's
Yep.
a very rare bird. I mean, some people can do it, I will say, but it's just going to take so much less time if we just work with
Yeah.
a coach.
Yeah. Um, there's a stat when it comes to like accountability and reaching your goals. When you just tell yourself your goal and you just set a goal, it's only 5% chance you're going to reach it.
Mm.
If you write it down, it's a 50% chance. And if you tell someone else, it's a 90% chance.
Wow.
So that's where the importance of having those people in your, like, literally, like that's for some people. For me, sometimes that's why, like, sometimes I'll put like I'm going to the gym on social media, and that's like my like, because I don't have a fitness coach of like, okay, I told the Instagram that I was going to the
Yeah.
gym. I got to go to the gym. They're gonna like want to see the proof, right?
Yep.
But that's why sometimes we do those things. But like, it's, you know, all the successful people out there that you see, whether they're successful in that they have the body that you want or the life that you want or the business that you want, they all had help.
Yeah.
And they may not show it. And again, that's the problem with social media. Everyone just thinks like, oh my God, like they do it on their own. No, they all have help. Every coach out there, every successful coach out there has a coach.
Yeah.
Okay? Even fitness coaches have fitness coaches. You
Yeah.
know, I have a fitness background and I pay someone to help me with that. You know, like we need that accountability, especially when you get busy and life happens.
Mhm.
But we always have room to grow in every area of our life, and we don't know it all.
And I
And
find too, the coaching is most valuable too, like when you get in your own heads, especially for me when it comes to business, because we are our own worst enemy.
Mhm.
Um, and we will hold ourselves back, you know, when you're thinking about that identify part, like what's holding you back, what's getting in your way. Oh, it's me. It's you,
Yep.
Kylie.
Yep.
So I need
You're the
help
problem. It's not,
moving.
it's me. It's like Taylor Swift or something. I don't even
I
know.
need you, right, to help give me some clarity or some to reframe things and
Yes,
to get out
reframing.
of my way.
Yeah. Reframing is something we do a lot in mindset work.
Mm.
And yeah, we just have to be called out on our own BS, like all the time. Like I'm a person always like, whenever I'm on a call with someone about working with me, I'm like, I'm not your cheerleader. And if that's what you're here for, not for you. Like, good luck finding one. If that's what you want, great. But like, I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to be your biggest supporter. I believe in you, all the things. But cheerleading isn't the person that wins the games.
Yeah.
You know, that helps the players, you know, The players aren't showing up and doing the thing because the cheerleader's over there looking cute. They're there because the coach has a strategy and they're guiding them and they're listening to them. They don't want to let them down. They're the accountability, right? And it's the calling them out when they're not giving 110% effort. It's calling them out on their BS. It's, telling them like, okay, like, no, you're doing it wrong, or to call whatever. And that's what you need. Like, you've got to have that person in your life. If you truly want to rise to that potential, to your deepest desires, to, to fulfill that passion and that purpose that you have, that God has given you, and live your best life. Like, again, we have one life to live. Like, it's short.
It's so short. And
And like, why we're
you're
so
reminded of that.
yeah. And like, we're so caught up in like, nope, like we're not here on earth to guard a desk and to work and to make our salary, or to just to do that. We're not here to just work to eat and work to pay our bill, right? We're here to impact lives, to carry on our legacy, to do things, right? And I think society, I think it's just made it to where we're like, I feel like we just sit here and we wake up every day just to do something to help someone else make some money, or to something to stay afloat. And then we go back to sleep and we do our day. It's just like, it's kind of sad.
It's an unconscious life.
100%.
Right? You're just on autopilot, and that is not a way to create change.
Nope.
You have to wake up to change.
Exactly.
Like, you were talking about becoming aware of your thoughts. I don't know the percentage, maybe you do, the percentage of thoughts that are subconscious thoughts that are running our daily lives.
So our subconscious mind, which is the part that is happening without us knowing. So if you were to snap your finger that first and say, give me the first thought, that's your subconscious mind, that thing that comes to mind. Whereas your conscious is what we're processing. We sit and we think, and we pros and cons, whatever. But your subconscious mind processes 2.3 million bits of information per second. Okay, per second. That's a lot, right? And what your subconscious mind is built and developed in years 0 to 7.
Yeah.
So it's when you're young, and that is where a lot of this comes. It's where that root cause of all this stuff, and that's what I identify. Because what we don't realize is a lot of the decisions we're making and the ways we're going through life is because of what we learned and what we were surrounded by when we were young. Yeah. And it's, the money mind, it's money mindset. It's our addictions to food and how we look at food, and that mindset around that. All of that is because of how we were raised, what our parents were doing, our grandparents were doing, what our schools were doing, what our teachers were saying. And we might not realize it because we probably don't remember it. But that is where 0 to 7 is where your subconscious mind is developed. And so all of this stuff that we're doing, those thoughts that you're having, we can't figure it out because we don't remember it, but it's all from then. It's what we were what people were constantly saying. This is why people, struggle with abuse, like different things. That's, traumas at that age that created how they think and how they make choices and how they show up in their life, right? And the thoughts that they have, those negative thoughts that they have, or maybe it's positive, but it all came from then. And that's why we're uncovering, we're working to reframe and do all these techniques to switch. Like I was just telling Kylie prior to this, there's this technique called mapping across, where you can literally walk through this technique to have, if you, let's just say food, for example, if there's something that is negative or it's negatively impacting you, and maybe it's you have this thing that like, I am addicted to Oreos, let's just say. Okay, I did this as the exact example I did when I was doing my certification. Oreos, you map it across to something that you don't like at all or not as much. It doesn't have to be not at all, because you don't have to dislike this thing. You just don't want to have to feel like you have to have it every day, right? And so, or because you always, you're associating things. Like I associate an Oreo with the blue packaging, right? If I see the blue packaging in the grocery store, like I want it. So I was thinking about the packaging. So you think of something that's similar. Okay. So I think macaroons as an example, because I don't care for them. It's not that I dislike them or that I'm like, whatever. It's just not I would never, if it was in the store and I had to pick fruit or a macaroon, I would put fruit, right? So, but they look similar, right? Kind of, they're a cookie or whatever you want to consider them. But you do this technique to basically swap them. So now when someone says Oreo, when I see the blue paper, I think of a macaroon. I don't think of an Oreo.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's these techniques to help you with, I mean, and this can apply to different things in life, but all this to say, it's how we're reframing, it's how we're training our subconscious mind to think differently about stuff.
Hmm. I love that. And, I think it's important to remember. So it's not our fault that we have those
No,
subconscious
never
thoughts,
do that. Right,
but
right,
it
right.
is our responsibility to address them if
That's
we
it.
want
Yeah. To make
to.
change. 100%. Yeah. It's and anytime when it comes to change, you have to commit to that change. And it's up to you to commit and say, I want this to happen. And if you don't commit to it, then it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
And it's you saying, it's acknowledging that this is a problem, that this thing is holding me back and I want to change it. And I'm willing to do the work. And committing to that change when it comes to NLP and which is neuro linguistic programming and all of that, it starts with
Mhm.
committing to that thing that you want, that destination, that change that you want. Because without that and without believing you can get there, you're never going to get there.
I love it. I love talking about this stuff. I
No,
love
I could talk for hours.
it.
Can we do this again? Can we do this again?
I mean, I love talking about it, but then to your point, implementing it is
Yeah,
hard.
it
Like,
is hard.
friends, that resistance is going to pop up because it's not safe. It's not safe in our bodies to do something new. But
Mhm.
like, what's the alternative? That's the question I always ask myself.
Yep.
What's the alternative? You want to stay here? You want to keep saying that you don't like this, or are you going to do something about it?
Yep.
Me to
Just
me. Like, welcome. Like, Catherine, I'm sure you and I are pretty much in our same. I've got my coach Kylie, and then I've got
yes,
person Kylie, and like we
yes,
have a conversation all day long.
all day, all day.
When
I
I
love
get to talk to you, a real person, I get so excited.
it. I know, I know. I love
This
it.
is so great. I love what you are doing. This is so
Mhm.
awesome.
Thank you.
So
It's
what kind
fun.
of people are you working with? Like, who's listening to this and they're like, yeah, heck yeah, I need this. Who
So to the person who just feels stuck in life and desires more, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or you have a 9 to 5 and you want to start a side hustle or a full-time business and leave that, you just, whatever it is, you feel you want more, and that you are worth more and that you have value and you have an impact that you can make and that you want to fulfill your purpose. And you don't know what to do. You have this and you're like, I have these, maybe it's ideas, you have thoughts, you have feelings in your head of, of things. But you're like, I don't know the action to take. I don't know what that thing is. You can't pinpoint that thing, right? So this ride thing is about, it's finding that superpower, finding that thing, and turning it into, again, that life or business of your dreams. So it's that person who feels kind of stuck where they're at, and desires for more, but doesn't know how to get there or or even what that thing is, maybe.
Yeah.
And that is who I help. And I have both group coaching, more for business purposes, but then I also have one-on-one coaching. And so, yeah, that's kind of who I help.
Where should we find you?
So I'm Instagram, Katharine, and my name is spelled a little odd. It's Katharine, Sawyer, Sawer, or ksawyer.com, is my website.
This is exciting.
And I have, and so if you do ksawyer.com/reflect, I have a reflection journal prompts worksheet that kind of walks you through a lot of what we talked about. And it's asking specific questions to each of those areas: joy and happiness. What do you like? What do you not like? Strengths and weaknesses. So there's a journal prompts there, that go grab that resource, print it out, whatever you need. There's also a link to like make it a template, like a Google Doc template. So if you like to type, so go in there, grab that, and you can work through this reflection, but that's the piece that you have to start with. We
Okay.
can't move on to the other pieces if we can't get to that root cause, right? I know you all hear about root cause a lot in health, but the root cause of your life, right? And what's holding you back.
Mhm. What is the process of working with you? Do we start with a consult call, or how does that look?
Yep. A consult call.
Well,
Yep.
that's exciting. Everyone, this is what we need. Like, health coaching is so important, but that's like for one area of our life. And we forget that well, at least I think, in my opinion, we forget that there's all these other areas of our life. And when you start
Exactly.
improving other areas of life, that has a spillover, just like health and fitness will have a spillover into other. it all goes hand in hand. And once you start like evolving, you become like this freight train, the momentum builds and you become unstoppable.
Yeah.
So I hope that people reach out because this is
Oh, thank
exactly
you.
what everyone needs right now.
I love it. Well, thank you for having this conversation. I was really excited to have it, and I hope a lot of people get a lot out of it.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you so much, Catherine. I'll make sure everyone knows how to get a hold of you
Awesome.
in the show notes, and I
Okay.
can't wait to chat again.
Awesome. Thanks, Kylie.
Welcome.
Okay.